Hello, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to present on the topic of digital transformation in aged care. The desire of older people in Australia is to remain living in their home independently, safely, and connected to their community for as long as possible. A desire, I'm sure, is shared by many older people across the world. In Australia, one of the largest government-funded aged care programs is the Home Care Program, which is currently undertaking significant reform for the next 2 years as a part of a broader reform because of the Royal Commission report into the quality and safety of older people in Australia. For home care providers, this particular reform is quite significant, touching on all aspects of home care operations and also the governance of organisations. There's changes to the funding. There's introduction of efficient set pricing. There's the introduction of many more competitors into the marketplace. The government, through their regulation, is insisting on more transparent reporting on the quality and safety of the care. There is also the introduction of third-party consumer reviews on the client experience that clients face with service providers, and the introduction of star rating. For this reason, there is a need for home care providers to really transform the way that they operate their home care services. And for this reason, Enkindle, my organisation, wanted to explore how home care programs are changing both nationally and internationally. What are the emerging trends and what are the innovations that home care providers in Australia should be considering? And we came up with approximately 11 different trends that we saw. And today I want to talk through 4 to 5 of those particular trends, particularly in relation to digital transformation. But before I start that, I'd like to talk to you or work through a few of the broader trends that we are seeing that's impacting on the design of new aged care, home care programs. Firstly, of course, every day for the next decade or two, home care providers are going to be faced with workforce shortages. This workforce shortages is a national and international issue, and this will demand home care providers to become more efficient, more effective, and to come up with innovative ways to provide safe, quality care. And then with technology, we are in the Internet of Things. Technology is shaping the way that we live and we work, and there will be this increasing expectation that home care providers will incorporate technology within their service delivery and their service products as well. There is also, as I mentioned, the requirement for greater transparency and reporting, and there's the gig economy. There is a different way that the workforce will want to operate into the future. There'll be employed workforce, but there'll also be the introduction of platforms and subcontractors, and that will shape a different way that we will be operating our home care programs. And lastly, but certainly not least, is since COVID, we have seen the increase in integrated care models to provide better continuity of care. In addition to this, of course, COVID has impacted on and has progressed virtual care. We now see much more virtual care models and technology being used and accepted in our everyday service delivery models. We see virtual assessments and virtual care coordination. We see more acceptable to do telehealth appointments, and also consumers requesting telehealth rather than face-to-face. We're also seeing the increase in social programs online and therapy programs online. What we are also seeing too is the increase in the number of higher needs, higher acuity clients being cared for in their home rather than traditional settings such as hospitals. And for home care providers, we need to consider this as a future opportunity and how we might need to change our clinical governance models and our staffing models to be able to have to take on opportunities when it comes to hospital partnerships into the future in this hospital in the home models. So when we were undertaking our research, there was a number of strategic questions that we want answered and we were looking for in our examples of innovation. We wanted to see how organisations were meeting the changing needs and expectations of consumers and workers. We wanted to see how they were using insights from employees and clients to shape their new service models and to improve client experience. We wanted to see how they were incorporating technology into their service delivery models and how that was playing out when it comes to competition and point of difference. So what we did is we looked for organisations and innovation in a number of ways. Firstly, we reached out to a number of peak bodies internationally to ask them for examples of organisations within their countries that were providing innovative service models, particularly in the home care setting. We also called out submissions to the industry for examples, and then, of course, we did our desktop research. And what we found, as I mentioned, is 11 emerging themes that we put together into one report as an industry resource for home care providers to consider. Now, let's work through very quickly some of these ideas. Firstly and foremost, the concept of client apps and platforms as a part of a mainstream service option. So the ability for clients to have an app for the home care organisation that they could download, and they could communicate with home care providers simply through that app, that app on their phone, their smartphone, or their tablet or the computer. They are able, via the app, be able to see what services are coming to their home, be able to choose particular clients if they staff if they choose to, that they're able to pay their bills, they're able to change their services, they're able to make appointments and inquiries through the app rather than having to ring and wait online in long call centres. So the app just being a part of the everyday service delivery. What we also saw, for example, is the add-on of conversational AI to that client portal, where the consumer or the older person could just use their voice to be able to contact their home care provider and ask some questions around their services and have conversational AI used to be able to answer those common questions around service delivery, what time services are coming and who's coming, for example. What we have seen is many examples of the on-demand economy moving into care. This market is growing, and so is consumers' demand for responsive services. And we've seen some really exciting models, and particularly platform models, that are really taking quite significant market share in home care in Australia. The concept of these models is where there is a platform of a number of workers and the older person is able to self-manage their care in being able to choose their workers and have much more control in what time these workers are coming to provide those services. What we're finding with these platform providers in Australia too is that they're becoming more mature in their clinical governance and quality of care monitoring, and also doing much better credentialing of the workers that are coming to sign up to these platforms. So we are also seeing just these platforms being quite attractive because they're very simple to use for carers or the older person. And in Australia, one of the fastest growing home care providers is in fact a platform provider. There's good examples of platforms nationally, internationally that are for clinical teams, as well as personal care teams, and also just domestic workers, all being managed through this platform service rather than a traditional home care program. With smart home technologies, I think for many countries, we have had pendant alarms and emergency response alerts for many years. For over 30 years, this type of technology has been available. But what we have seen, certainly in our research, is this next generation of technology, of smart home technology, that Internet of Things in the home, where we are seeing connected homes that have a number of peripherals that are coming together to ensure the safety and the security and the connection of older people in their home. A good example is the Google Suite, the Google Hub or the Google Nest, and seeing a number of different peripherals that are all managed through one smart home app that connect seamlessly to the Google Suite, for example. That includes, smart fridges, vacuum cleaners, smart robotic mops, robotic lawnmowers. We've seen door sensors, lighting sensors. We've seen security, doorbells, ability for voice activation of electrical devices. We've seen night routines set up. We've seen the ability just by voice for older people to be able to initiate video calls, phone calls, and also set reminders for clinical, like for medications. So this technology, truly 21st century off-the-shelf technology that can be incorporated within services. In Australia, in the new supported home reform, there's specific service lines just for funded smart home technologies that can be incorporated within a service or care plan for an older person. There is a growing number of virtual care and hospital in the home models that we saw as well in our research. When we talk about virtual care or hospital in the home, we're meaning the ability to create a team of clinicians and or medical staff who are able to monitor a significant number of people in the home, in the community remotely. They are able to monitor 24/7 with devices in the home, or where clients are able, or older people are able, by the press of the button, be able to have access to this virtual medical or clinical team. This team working with on the ground teams in the community who together, the virtual team and the on-the-ground nursing teams, are able to provide 24/7 response to those more higher acuity clients. Maybe these clients are post-acute clients or hospital in the home clients, or palliating or palliative care clients. In Australia, we have hospital in the home programs. In the US, Mercy Virtual is a standout example of a virtual care environment. In Australia, what we've also seen is, soon to see, I should say, is the introduction of virtual emergency departments that can provide triage and clinical support by specialist medical teams that will support that hospital in the home model, as well as directly be able to support older people, not only in their home and also in residential aged care. There is also some great examples of integrated care models, ones that are quite established and also are growing across the communities. When we talk about integrated care, the partnership with health and hospitals, primary care and aged care, all coming together to coordinate continuity of care for older people through their health journey, improving client experience, but also client care outcomes. A good example, one of my favorite examples, is certainly Unlock, or the PACE program in the US. I'm going to show you two models. This particular model is actually a day center model, where the older person is transported to this day center for the day, and a number of services are wrapped around them. They receive nutritious meals, social activities, exercise, as well as a number of clinical and medical interventions. This could be dental, occupational therapists, podiatry, physiotherapy, speech therapy, pharmacists. And so all these services occurring while they're in the day centre, and they may come to this day centre 2 or 3 days a week. Another good example, again in the US, is more of an outreach or an in-reach model straight into the client's home in their community, or the older person's home in the community. This is where a team of, a number of organisations coming together in a formalised partnership. This particular example is showing a mobile primary care team, as well as medical imaging team, palliative care team, medical specialists, as well as home care providers, all coordinating together to deliver comprehensive integrated care services, hospital in the home, and in-home care services to keep people in the home and independent, and not move into a hospital situation. This type of integrated care requires the ability to have a shared client record and some very sophisticated coordination, but providing significant outcomes. This particular chart I'm about to show you is an example of an aspirations in the US of the move of this hospital in the home by 2025. On the far left-hand side, their goal is for 25 to 35% of primary care episodes happening in the home rather than in a surgery. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the increase of 20 to 30% of traditional hospital visits the care would happen in the home, not in a hospital setting. I cannot have this presentation without at least mentioning what we've seen of late with artificial intelligence moving into home care, the significant role that it will play in the efficiency of services and better outcomes also for clients in a home-based setting. In home care, one of the most expensive and most complicated logistics is the rostering of staff within the community setting, ensuring that it's an efficient rostering of staff moving from one home to another, and also ensuring that you are rostering the staff with the right skills, attributes, and ability are matched with the client, with the appropriate. That the client is matched with the appropriate staff member. The role that AI plays in being able to make that sophisticated rostering simple, something that may take hours, coming down to a matter of minutes, being able to save enormous amount of time in that sophisticated rostering. We've also seen predictive AI being used in alerting the home care provider of client risks of hospitalisation or falls, or the cost of predicted cost of those episodes of care, or with sensors in the home being able to monitor the normal patterns of older people in the home and being able to alert the home care provider when there's some anomalies within those patterns in the home. And it could just be that an older person is visiting the bathroom many more times in a day than normal, and just alerting the home care provider that there may be a matter that they may need to address. Predictive AI in the workforce is also important. We need to make sure that we are able to maintain our workforce and that they are satisfied with their work. So monitoring KPIs around, for example, the average hours that a worker may be getting, or their engagement levels, could alert the employer that that staff member is at risk of leaving, and being able to address that. I've already mentioned conversational AI. And then, of course, there's just AI that's just going to help with better administrative processes and eliminating administrative efforts, which will reduce the cost of service delivery. And lastly, digital programs that are supporting the capacity building of older people to use technology. The ability of them to be able to live in the 21st century world, being able to shop online, to bank online, to be confidently able to use their smartphone to do a video calls or connections. Many older people are isolated from a number of opportunities because they don't have the digital capabilities. So we've seen many products and services that are just focused on one-on-one capacity building of older people in improving their ability to be able to use technology. So thank you very much for listening to this presentation. There is a number of other themes that we didn't get to today, but we certainly would encourage you to download our innovations report, which has the 11 themes that I mentioned today. Thank you again.
Thank you, and let's welcome Jennene. Hi.
Hello.
So let's take a look at our questions from the floor. The first question is, in Australia, how is the acceptance of technology in elderly groups? Aging population is an unavoidable issue. What should we prepare for growing old? It's a big question.
Yes, in Australia, we estimate that, for example, 84% of older people 75 years and older have smartphones in their hands these days. And I imagine that has come from COVID and the use in Australia of QR codes to be able to enter, public buildings. And so we saw very much an increase in the use of technology for older people, just particularly in the last 2 or 3 years. However, in saying that, I used to be the CEO of an organisation called Feros Care, and we have been putting technology in the homes of our older people for at least the last 15 years. And I think that if the technology is fit for purpose, that it has been tested well, and that you provide the support to the older person so that they become confident in using the technology, then they'll use it. So I think we've had a very positive experience when it comes to technology. There's still a divide, or a gap for some older people, and that is why digital literacy programs are so important, so that they can start to use technology every day like we do for banking and shopping and social connection.
I see, thank you. And another question is, the Ubering of care is a new concept to us in Hong Kong. Do you have any advice for Hong Kong people to start such service provision? What are the key successful factors for initiating such model?
Yes, what I think the lessons have been in Australia is to ensure that the owner of these platforms, so the platforms that facilitate the Ubering of care, so the platform is where the provider or the owner of the platform engages a number of workers onto their program, to ensure that they've got very good clinical governance behind that operation, that operation does have clinical staff that are ensuring that the workers that are coming onto the platform, that they have the right credentials, that they are screened, and that they ensure that they undertake the minimum training that is required. And so that is on the onus of the platform owner. And that was lessons that we learned very early on in the introduction of these Ubering platforms for care. It provides, if it's done well, it provides the control and the decision making back to the older person and their family, as they are able to choose the worker that they can see on the platform, and they can negotiate with the worker directly the time and the days that they would like their care. And so if you've got good controls in place, you're empowering the older person to be able to manage that care relationship, but you're there to just make sure that those workers are well credentialed and experienced. So that's important.
That's great. I think you have also answered a very important concept of giving back the rights to the elder people so that they can make the choice, and very informed choice for their care plan. And another question from our colleagues is, could you provide more details on the benefits of utilizing a platform service instead of a traditional program?
Yes, I guess we did something, certainly in Australia, we did a little bit of investigation on this, and there's two parts to this. For the care workers, we asked that joined the platform, we asked them the question, why did you want to go sign up for the platform rather than going and being employed by a traditional home care provider? For the worker, they too enjoyed being in control of their working week, that they could choose when they worked and how long they worked every day, but importantly also that they could choose the clients that they wanted to work with. In Australia, when they worked for employers of home care, the traditional providers, they felt they had to work when the employer wanted them to work, and they felt pressure to fill shifts, and they felt guilty if they wanted to have a day off. And so they enjoyed the flexibility. So that is the worker. When it comes to the for the client or for the older person in Australia, in traditional home care models, the client doesn't really get to see or choose the worker that's going to come to their house. There's not like that. The traditional providers don't have a platform where there's a photo of the worker and a background of the worker or the skills and qualifications of the worker. There's really no choice. They may be able to ask for a worker that speaks a particular language, or they may be able to choose a gender, like female or male, for example, but really not having that choice of who is the worker they want. And they have to fit within a schedule of rostered services. Again, the client doesn't necessarily get to choose exactly the time in the day or get to negotiate that. So they're examples of how a platform can be both beneficial for the worker as well as the client, if that makes sense.
Thank you. And another question is about workforce, actually. So in Hong Kong, we are quite shortage of care workers now. And what advice would you give to persons interested in learning about digital solutions and technologies in aged care? What abilities are required of a new practitioners?
That's a very good question. And this, I think, so I couldn't imagine the amount of workforce shortages that you have in Hong Kong because of your population. Of course, Australia has workforce shortages, but not to the magnitude that you do. So it is about how we can use technologies to, as we've already talked about in the presentation, I guess to make us more efficient, to take away administration work from our staff where we can through AI, so that most of the time that they're working with us, they're right inside the client's home providing care. So I think that's important. But there's also the importance of looking at how we can put technology in the homes of clients. And if this is new for you as a provider, then the way that we started our journey into smart technologies was that we just went out and we brought some technologies into our organisation, and we even just used the technologies in our own team. So we went and installed the technologies in our own home, got to know the technologies well, and then we put together a formal little pilot with 15 of our clients and ourselves, got to know how the technologies worked, what were the risks, making sure we put good procedures in place, getting feedback from the clients about the benefits. And then once we were very confident in the technology, then we started to grow and roll out that technology to more clients. But we started small. We learned we really tested the technology ourselves before we then went to test it with a small number of clients. And then we took it that third step of then mainstreaming it. So it's just about being inquisitive and getting out there and just trialing those technologies, but making sure you've got a very good process to test that before you do go out and give it, and put those technologies into home of many of your clients.
Well, thank you, Jennene, for your presentation and also just the Q&A. And thank you. I think that has helped a lot, like for us to going into a new era of platform economy. Maybe that is okay, and also put also into the care system, care work in no matter in Hong Kong or any other parts of the world. Thank you, Jennene, for staying with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for having me at this year's GIES Hong Kong event. And Aging Asia and myself, we're very appreciative of the opportunity to present today on Gerontechnology trends, the Asian landscape and perspective. My name is Janice Chia, founder and managing director of Aging Asia. To start off, I'd like to share with you one of the highlight videos that has resonated the most with our community.
Will your mouth still remember the taste of my love? Will your eyes still smile from your cheek?
And now the shoulder stands. And after that, the highlights. Look at this. A powerful body with more than 90 years.
Truly, age is just a number. In 2017, she performed at the International Aging Week in Singapore at the event. And I think till today, many of us still fondly remember her and her outstanding performance as a 92-year-old gymnast. And today, you know, she's going to head right through towards that 100-year-old longevity age soon. Aging Asia is the first industry alliance and social enterprise on the business of aging. When I started Aging Asia about 14 years ago, what I really wanted to do was to look at opportunities that would find new innovations, products, services that would change the lives of older people, improve their quality of life, and make them happier as they grow older. As a business community, we engage global players in strategic partnerships, market intelligence, as well as industry training. Our vision is really to look at the new filial piety, from xiaoxing to xiao. How can every aspect of what we are doing today in creating products and services for seniors incorporate elements of ensuring that they feel happier, more independent, and more supported as they grow older? Hence our vision of Age with Laughter, xiao. Today, I hope that we can start this journey to engage even more people to look at aging in a different way, where enablement is more important than just delivering quality of care, where happiness is more important than just looking at how to prevent falls or how to look at protecting seniors. In order to create a next generation of happier older people, we really have to relook the way ourselves and how the industry looks at notions of how we are caring. Instead of caring too much, we want to support them in the right way. This is a 4.56 trillion market opportunity by 2025. And I think we can see here, according to our latest report that was published in 2020, this was published during the COVID years, and many of you may not have had an opportunity to look in depth at this 200-page report that Aging Asia has published. You can refer to our website for more information, of course, but let's just look at the demographics and the market potential for Hong Kong alone. It's 40.4 billion. And of course, in China, that's a $2.6 trillion market. But when we're looking at this aging market opportunity map, what we are looking at is really tracking the progression of the aging market opportunity from 2025, taking us all the way to 2030 and 2040, according to the different colors of the chart. So you can see, for example, in Hong Kong, we are looking at the population increase for older people from 2.4 to 2.6 to 3.1 million people. And ultimately, by 2040, this amount will represent 37.6% of the aging population. And contrast that with Japan, a super aging country, that's 42% of their population, representing 48 million people. How do we calculate this? You look at household savings on the silver economy, Hong Kong's market potential represented by US 40.4 billion. Across the board, these are the countries that we've actually analyzed across Asia Pacific, looking at how their household savings impacts the potential spending on the silver economy in future. So how are different generations of seniors managing their money? We have different personas in the silver economy. The pre-boomer generation, which is the war generation, post-war generation, that's those born before 31st December 1949. They have different traits, as we've seen, from baby boomers to the sandwich generation, as well as the FIRE generation, financially independent and retire early generation. Let's look at the cost of aging in Singapore, where I'm from. And you can see that, the average cost of living, this is just basic cost of living. Of course, this is before all the fun stuff. So like, what you're going to spend on shopping activities, travel, entertainment. These are just the basic costs only. And in reality, now you're looking at about $3,000 per month to estimate for an older person in Singapore. And in future, I think for, let's say, the higher middle income, you're looking at about $4,500 to $5,000 a month. Singapore started the public community care apartments by HDB. And one of the first will be coming up soon in our communities. These are the government-run assisted living communities, and this is the estimates on the total cost that they would have to incur from housing plus services, which is about 2.5K a month. So what are our seniors really investing in future? I think, what they're looking at is opportunities for health and wellness, real estate, charity giving, annuities, bonds, equities. But let's look back at the first one, health and wellness, because that relates to the Gerontechnology landscape and the kinds of products and services that they will choose to purchase, because these include your health monitoring devices, which I'll share more later, the assisted living technologies, and as well as the home monitoring technologies that they will use. So some of the other highest potential, we see healthcare, rehab, sports wellness, and travel and tourism being ranked the highest in our latest survey. So what are the top trends that demonstrate aging as a social and economic opportunity? So the next 10 trends, I'm just going to run relatively quickly, all incorporating trends of gerontechnology inside, because technology kind of overlaps every aspect of what we're doing in the aging sector. First trend, of course, we're looking at the business of dementia, from being able to detect early to helping people to manage symptoms and traits of dementia once they have an early onset, to those that require even more services when they have more severe dementia. But now with various aspects of technology and different pockets of opportunities, we are seeing that we're going to be able to help slow down the decline of dementia in future. And the pharmaceutical arena as well has come up with many developments for that dementia area. Second trend we're looking at is the business of care technologies. This includes the virtual care technologies. Post-COVID, many seniors are now very acclimatized and used to using technology in their everyday life. Instead of going to the doctors for their chronic disease medications, they can now do a Zoom consult. When they're not feeling well, they are used to using teleconsult, and the medicine gets delivered to the door. I think in future, we're going to see more and more of these care technologies being implemented. Even in the care facilities, we're seeing more and more care operators hiring data teams, data scientists, to look at how understanding the data that goes through the care operators and the network is able to help reduce the use of manpower. Are you able to detect the falls earlier? Are you able to reduce the number of times that the call button is being used? Perhaps how can you reduce manpower of the night staff that's servicing your community? These are all examples we've seen from global opportunities. The business of healthy aging, more and more seniors are, of course, interested in looking after themselves and interested in looking themselves earlier. So in the past, perhaps the average age of people a bit more concerned with their health decline would be about 70. Today, we're seeing more and more people at the age 55, 60 being concerned with how they're going to age well in future. Business of fund rehabilitation, more and more care operators will be looking at opportunities to include technology into fund rehab, into programs and services that they are running for the seniors, both in the day centers, rehab day centers, as well as facilities that they are running from assisted living to full residential care facilities, to make it fun, to make it incorporated and integrated into daily life. The business of rehab tourism is something that actually would engage hospitality operators from outside of the care industry, but together with the care sector, there can be a great partnership opportunities, because the care sector will be able to offer monitoring technologies and the latest rehab services to complement tourism. The business of longevity economy, we're seeing more and more seniors living longer, aging well, working into their 80s and potentially even 90s, running small businesses. As you've seen from the example of the gymnast, she's performing worldwide at many fabulous events, looking at how to showcase longevity too. The business of senior living and care communities has always been a very stable trend. In Singapore, many parts of Asia today, we are looking at assisted living being the key standout trend. Business of loneliness. As more and more people are aging, they may be alone, but they're not lonely. So, but what is the business of loneliness? Loneliness is really about how many seniors may be isolated due to their physical conditions. They may not have access to a network of friends and support services. We see that the business of loneliness has its highest potential in the middle income market, because in the lower income range, we do have many care operators offering services for those of a lower income demographic. However, in that middle income to higher income range, we do see more and more private operators being able to enter the market, from lifestyle services to companionship services, to being able to offer activities, health and wellness programs for them to alleviate some of the loneliness that's being held from empty nesters, single, older people aging alone at home, those without big family networks, and those without children too. Women especially, women, according to most demographic trends, feminization of aging, they are likely to outlive men. In some countries already, there's exclusive services being developed for the women market. The business of virtual care, how can all the care and the provision of the care be provided virtually at home, while the doctor is being able to monitor all your symptoms, or even maybe the nurse teams and the technology teams. A business of local economy, how can we build more services within that 1 kilometer radius or where all of us live? Some of the key overview of aging innovations we've seen. There's a lot of outstanding services that are being built across Asia Pacific. One of the biggest ones is for at Forestier, which is in Bangkok. They built Aspen Tree, which is a 400-unit development. And this development focuses more on two areas. One is on high assisted living services, and the other is on aging in place, where apartments for seniors and villas are available for seniors who want to have activities in a secure and very nicely designed 5-star living environment. However, the entire Aspen Tree development, the aging community, is built within a master plan community. So we're going to see that more and more housing developers are going to start building pockets of senior related housing services and care services to offer the entire aging in place concept, intergenerational concept, and integrated with various technologies. So let's look at some of the technologies that have emerged. Some of you may have seen this, and at the Aging Asia Alliance booth, you'll be able to see the Lovot. Lovot is the cute little robots that you see in the matching Hello Kitty outfits. These are social companion robots that we've seen emerge from Japan. They even have their own showroom in Tokyo as well. But these are just parts of some of the technologies we're seeing, because these include personal alert systems, health and wellness products, assisted living technologies. Social companion robots that are cute, they have an affinity with seniors as well as engaging with children. We're also going to see more of these robots delivering services. For example, the taxi robot that you can see that's almost human-like at the top. That particular robot allows for more training for persons living with dementia. For example, training in exercise programs, repetitive type of programs to help the staff, to complement the staff strength in the facility. So in this new digital age, these are some of the surveys and the top things that seniors are actually buying online. And I thought we'd just share some of these insights with you. In Singapore, we have the Smart National Health Initiatives that covers a full range from assistive technologies to health hubs to the National Health Steps Challenge and the Healthy 365 app. So many Singaporeans have this Healthy 365 app, which allows them to engage in active aging activities all over Singapore. Many of them are free. In fact, when seniors are going to a public gym in Singapore over the age of 60, they are able to enter the gym for free. And with these integrated wearable apps and technologies that also includes gamification, this allows the entire population to age with the premise of being more active and more mobile, and to encourage everybody, no matter where you live, to be able to engage in these activities and to win prizes and some incentives, so including supermarket vouchers if you achieve X number of steps. So how do we design for seniors of the future? We want opportunities where they can extend their functional mobility as they age. Instead of giving them a wheelchair, the future trend is pushing more towards the rollators, where they are able to use as much of their strength as possible to walk as much as possible. And this inclusion of such devices will mean that on the greater city infrastructure landscape, we need to include more age-friendly infrastructures, from ramps to even electric charging points for these devices, because many of these devices now come with some element of technology to support them. Exercise is medicine, where community and social engagement is really important. We're seeing more and more senior fitness parks emerge, more community events happening. Even regular shopping centers are incorporating more exercise benches or indoor fitness activities to cater for the senior generation. So in age-friendly design, we're just going to end up with a couple of insights that we're seeing from around the world that's being put into the homes of seniors, including sitting bathtubs, including more safety devices, more ergonomic design in the choice of furnitures. There are healthcare furniture, but with very nice classic designs, data-driven bits, and using technologies. This will allow more monitoring to be done in a more discreet way, and also, in a very trendy and well-designed way. We can then engage in the health tracking. The data that is collected will enable both caregivers as well as facility operators to be able to care for seniors better. So, some of the benefits that it offers, especially for the future of the use of gerontechnology, not just in facilities like residential care facilities, but also increasingly to fulfill the aging in place concept, where more and more seniors, as far as possible, will choose to live at home. Having the use of technologies and integrations will allow them to use the apps to be able to monitor their family members safely, closely, and also for the greater workforce to continue engaging in the workforce and contributing to the economy while also fulfilling their caregiver duties. And if they were to assign that duty to another living caregiver or a part-time caregiver, the family members can still engage in this personalized interactions through the technology integrations possible. So some of the future services that we see emerge, not just healthcare services, home care and assisted living, but also even going down to educational services, transportation services, and legal services for seniors. This 91-year-old lady is one of the best examples of seniors that demonstrate that they want to stay healthy, they want to look after themselves as much as possible, they want to engage in lots of different fun activities that makes her life fulfilling. This lady here, Nelly, she lives in Singapore. She lives with her children, but she leads a very independent life with lots of different activities fulfilling her life every day. She makes many of the care decisions on her own. Seniors age 80 plus, they are now looking after their health better, so they are exercising more to stay stronger. And then you see that the baby boomer generation, these are those in their 70s, they are also interested in making their own care decisions, and they may not live with their children. They do want to be independent as long as possible, and in order to do that, they're willing to look after themselves better. Baby boomers are also representative of the biggest spenders and also the biggest savers. So I think they're willing to forego perhaps handing down the wealth to the next generation in exchange for increasing their own quality of life. So this is definitely a generation representative of the new silver economy, making decisions for themselves about how they want to spend, whether it's on technology or other types of services that will help them lead a high quality of life and to be happier as they grow older. Children will be the next other decision maker in this process. So younger people, age about 40 to 50, they are going to influence the buying decisions of their parents. And I think this will lead to the selection of different things that older people will want to select when they are trying to make their lives better, and how as an economy we want to prepare to innovate better in different types of experiences, learning, personalization, technologies for the aging population. One thing to remember as a summary of everything we've discussed is the rising silver economy is influenced by baby boomers and their children. There will soon be 2 generations of older people aging at the same time. The word that they like to use the most and representative of their buying decisions is not luxury goods, but it's affordable luxury. And they want to make sure that there is good value for everything that they purchase. Aging is a socio-economic opportunity overlapping all sectors of our economy. And in future, we look forward to a society where we can build and help them to improve their health span versus their lifespan. So thank you very much for the opportunity to present today.
Thank you, Janice. We are now going to answer some questions from our online audience. Hi, Janice. So let's take a look at, and let's take a look at our questions. The first question is, what are the major obstacles of Gerontechnology adoption in Singapore? Any more success story could be shared?
I think one of the major obstacles would be the documentation and the opportunity to access pilot projects. So what Aging Asia has been doing in the past few years is really to create opportunities for more care operators to access the best innovative Gerontechnology private projects.
So is it something that you can overcome from or there are still some obstacles that you cannot overcome at this time? Okay, let's take a look at the second question. How was the Gerontechnology application in Singapore be promoted and advanced, both on resource investment and talent development in social service sector? How do you attract young people to join the industry in Singapore?
I think more and more young people are very interested in heading into a career that has a social purpose. And in fact, in recent years, because of the application of Gerontechnology inside the care facilities and the opportunities to access the latest solutions as well as the latest updates in technology, from robotics technology, assistive living technology to software platforms and smart equipment for the care sector, we are seeing that more and more people interested, because it's not just about going into the care sector, but it's also the opportunity to be very, very innovative and apply the use of technology inside the care sector. When we talk to younger people today, they are seeing a different approach towards their careers too. They are looking at something that can use their skills and also be able to help society and to support society.
That's amazing, and I actually appreciate and also love how in your presentation you have included the young people or the next generation as the consideration, because they are the next generation, the upcoming generation that will be taking care of the elderly population. But in the end, they will become old person in the later. And another question is, in your opinion, what are the strengths of APAC region in promoting development and adoption of technology for smart and healthy aging in the next few years?
In the APAC region, I think one of our advantages is that we are because we have a rising demand for aging services. So Singapore becomes a super aging society by 2026, and many countries around Asia Pacific, they are rapidly building new communities and facilities to support the growth of the aging population. So therefore, we have a lot of opportunities for pilot testing and a lot of opportunities for showcase of the products, whether it's within the community in day service centers or even at home aging in day services, in terms of development of hospitals, community hospitals, senior living facilities, assisted living facilities. Every country is now trialing a variety of different options. So I think with so many capital development in the works and so many services being developed for seniors, there's a lot of opportunities to apply the use of Gerontechnology. And it's a great opportunity for many people who are outside of the sector to also explore new ways that they can engage as well as partner with existing care operators. So Aging Asia facilitates these industry connections. As a result of that, we travel around the world to look at the best products and curation. So right now, we are actually on a multi-country trip from Zurich to Japan to different countries to see how we can bring the best of these innovations into the care sector in Asia Pacific.
Yes, I think that actually has lots of potential in the APAC region, and also it's a fast-growing population, and also getting more wealthier, and there's something that we should look into and develop that. Well, another question is, in Hong Kong, it is quite common to have domestic helpers to assist older adults. What should we balance between intensive care and or protection versus more self-independence of older adults? There is also lots of domestic helpers in Singapore as well.
I think that the way that domestic helpers are being engaged with seniors today, that will change significantly in the next 10 years. Because we have a rising need for caregivers, I see that the potential in future is actually to increase the skills of domestic helpers to the caregiver level. That way, they see a career pathway up the caregiver pathway. In the long run, I think we can use different types of technologies for domestic help. However, we do need to train more qualified caregivers. So I see that domestic helpers will transition into skilled caregivers in future for the industry. And coming from various countries that currently enter the sectors into Singapore or Hong Kong, you will see that as caregivers, the caregivers will also be a little bit different from what we see today. In a new society where we want to enable older people to be more independent, to age well, and to support them to do many things that they like to do. I think that the role of the future domestic helpers becomes this now the new professional role of a caregiver. They will also play the role of a social concierge to the seniors. So what they would spend maybe 30% of their time doing is not just in care, but also in creating ideas on how to engage older people. Instead of just caring for them and bringing them to the park, they may be organizing their schedules and making sure that they can meet their friends, and making sure that they are taking part in various activities that they find purpose and meaning in. So the new domestic helper is actually a very well qualified professional caregiver that is helping seniors to age well at home. And with the longevity of the population, we're going to see that more and more people will be living longer lives. The 100-year life is very attainable, but that could mean that a senior person may require more assistance from the age of when they become a bit more frail, when they need someone to assist them. So the care support is more important at home, and the care enablement and the lifestyle, rather than just doing things for them. We want to enable seniors to be able to do things for themselves.
Great. Thank you very much for your presentation and all the answers today. Thank you and take care.